Somebody suggested Zelda 2, according to my brother, and I think that is an absolutely fantastic suggestion. This is the most underrated Zelda game in the series, in my opinion. And this is all basically about opinion. See, I will always love the Zelda series. It's a very close second to Final Fantasy for me. It was so different. The fact you could save a game instead of having to write down, you know, a 20,000 letter password that had upper and lowercase letters and Japanese symbols and Arabic, you know, that just made everything so much easier. Yeah, the story's coming up here, but nobody gives a shit about the story in a Zelda game. It's always the same for the most part. And this is probably one of the thinner Zeldas in terms of story, discounting the first, because we can't really count the first. It was groundbreaking in its own way, but you have to acknowledge that at the time, storytelling was somewhat limited. What I love about this game is the fact that, as much as I will give the first its props, I have a hard time playing it now because it's a bit monotonous. This game breaks the monotony, and it also follows Adult Link. And I want to shamelessly plug the show Rome here. HBO series, fabulous. Best character in the show, Titus Polo, had a habit of saying cack all the time. That's where that's from. Watch that show. Great show. So what we have, Zelda mysteriously falls asleep. You know that she's basically being a prude. I mean, there are those girls out there who will make you jump through the fires of hell to give you their attention. Zelda, you know, the first game wasn't enough. Zelda thinks, okay, so he's willing to go through 2 quests of the same sort of thing and slay a giant pig monster twice. That's a good start. Okay. You're in the friend zone with Zelda at this point. Now, you have to prove yourself. If you're going to get some, if she's going to, quote, wake up, then you're going to have to do a little bit more. Thankfully, Link being older and more badass, is capable of living up to that challenge. Why in God's name he would do that instead of take one of the numerous girls in this game that offers herself to you? I don't know. You know, it's kind of like that Mario syndrome. In fact, Zelda is the opposite of Peach, whereas Peach is simply a sexual beast. Zelda is, as I said, a severe prude. She is the Cinderella of the Nintendo universe. Will not put out, you know, sex is there for after marriage and death. So we really, really have to give Link props for his determination. There really is no hero who matches it, other than maybe Mario under different circumstances. At least we know he's straight. We have to wonder about Simon Belmont, who never gets any at the end of a game. At least not that I've seen. At the beginning of the game, you'll have your sort of tutorial levels and all of that business. This game has the great advantage of being able to bag, and you will need it later on. This game has such great scale for a Zelda game. Most Zelda games have a town and a forest, and Hyrule doesn't feel like a particularly large area. This game feels big. And it is big. And the monotony of the overhead view is broken by what is essentially an overworld map. But you never really hear about this one. It's always about Link to the Past, or Ocarina of Time, or Wind Waker, which I just could never get into. Not necessarily because of the visual style, but I just wasn't overly impressed. At any rate, you have a shield that actually works for you. You don't have to get a bigger shield, or an intermediate shield even. Your shield always blocks swords and fireballs. It cannot block direct attacks, and it cannot block axes and maces. You will run into enemies who use those. They're very, very happy to use them, too. There's one enemy in particular who has a shield, and he swings his cock at you with the intent of giving you an unbelievable mushroom stamp. So you have to be ready for that. It's a bit off yet. And we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. And a few little extras about the game. You level up. Now you get lives in the same way that you get hearts to extend your life bar in the same way that you did in the old ones. But your defense, your offense, and how much magic you have, or expend, I should say, how much magic you expend per spell, is completely determined by leveling up. So fighting has more benefits than just getting money, which you don't actually get money in this game. In fact, I don't think you ever buy a single thing in this game.